Well, thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode until the question and answer session of today's conference. At that point, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star 1. This is recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this point. Now, the meeting over to your host, Linnea New. Ma'am, you begin.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Midwest Quarterly Stroke webinar. The topic is Getting Your Hospital to Get with the Guidelines Stroke Award Status. My name is Renee Sednew. I am a Quality and Systems Improvement Director at American Heart Association based in Illinois. I am joined by my colleague Lynn Serdinsky, who is also a Quality and Systems Improvement Director in Wisconsin. Instructions for logging in. Hopefully everyone has joined both the phone, the call, and as well as the online portion. If you have any issues or questions, please feel free to contact Kristen Matthew. Her email and phone number are listed on the slide as well as in your confirmation email. Should have received an email with the slides for today along with a few other handouts. Joined us before, and thank you for coming back. We host quarterly stroke webinars for our Midwest affiliate of 11 states. They are open to anyone interested in improving stroke care, including nurses, stroke program coordinators, neurologists, medical directors, quality improvement personnel, and anyone else not listed there. Our purpose is to engage in educational opportunities to network, share best practices, hear from your local quality and systems improvement directors, and also from other hospitals to share their best practices. These are scheduled for 1 hour, and our next webinar is, the exact date is to be determined, and it will be in April or May. Networking group that we're almost 230 participants. If you'd like to join this networking group to connect with other hospitals and share best practices, please go email Kristen Matthew. To go over the goals for today's webinar. So by the time this is over, our aim is for everyone on this call to be able to run a progress to awards report for hospital, to understand what the awards criteria are as well as the deadlines, to find American Heart Association stroke resources, both professional and community-based resources. And today we're going to be showing you a small sample of reports. And that attendees on this line have a range of Get With The Guidelines experience using the reports, some for the first time and some have been using them for years. Our goal today is that everyone, regardless of your level, thinking about a new report or quality improvement project that you'd like to focus on. As I mentioned, our Midwest affiliate covers 11 states. This is a local quality and systems improvement directors. If you're not sure who your director is, please feel free to reference this slide, or you can always reach out to myself or Lynn to see who you should contact. I want to take a step back and think about the big picture goal of Get With The Guidelines, and we're all here. Everyone here is contributing to that goal. So as we know, data help make connections, interpretations, and eventually develop evidence-based guidelines. And then through Get With The Guidelines, we can continue on that journey by contributing data and making any updates, modifications to these guidelines, and that is part of the continuous journey to wisdom. Get The Guidelines Recognition Award Program helps us connections between guidelines and data, and your hospital can also use the tool to move up the steps in this pyramid at the local level. Again, for participating in Get With The Guidelines and joining us today. What you're looking at here is a map with the guidelines coverage in the country and by region. So what it shows is the value of our state, regional, and national reports when you're trying to look at trends in stroke outcomes. And the darker colors represent the percent of all acute ischemic stroke discharges that come from hospitals using Get With The Guidelines. So as you can see in the Midwest, we're at about 5% of all of those acute ischemic stroke discharges come from hospitals entering data and Get With The Guidelines. And I'd like to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Renee. And all so much for joining us today. We should start off really congratulating all of our Midwest Get With The Guidelines award winners from last year. Shout out to all of you. Thank you for all of your hard work. Congratulations on earning your award. Last year, we had 227 hospitals that recognized for a Get With The Guidelines Stroke Award, whether that be bronze, silver, gold, for 2017 based on 2016 data. We also had 166 of those hospitals also received target stroke recognition for the improvements on door to thrombolytic administration time. And really looking forward to working with all of you increasing those award numbers for 2018. To start, we also wanted to review just the criteria for achieving a Get With The Guidelines award. In your confirmation email that all of you should have received, there's a separate handout that references the award criteria that we will be reviewing throughout the beginning portion of today's webinar. So always feel free to go back to that reference sheet when you're questioning what the criteria are for award recognition. The first we'll review are the achievement measures. Thanks. So the achievement measures are what you must have in order to achieve any type of recognition for a Get With The Guidelines Stroke Award. All 7 of those achievement measures have to be met at 85% or greater compliance in order to qualify for any type of award, whether that be gold, silver, or bronze. And what those mean is that gold is a period of at least 24 consecutive months. So to achieve gold, you would have had to achieve silver the year before. That's an aggregate result of 2 years worth of data that you meet criteria for both years. Silver, a period of 12 consecutive months, and this is a period of 1 quarter or 90 days and can only be earned once. So when a hospital is a bronze award winner, you do have to move forward in the progression to a silver award. You cannot achieve bronze more than once. Measures which we will review are at least 5 of the 8 quality measures have to be at least 75% of the time in order to qualify for the plus portion of the award. So your hospital, or you might hear of other hospitals, are a Gold Plus award winner. That means that they achieved the achievement measures, they earned their Gold Award, and then the plus component is those quality measures. So at least 5 of 8 of those would get 75% or greater. And again, you can see the specific of what makes an achievement measure and what is a quality measure, as well as the target stroke measures on criteria sheet that went out to all of you. The target stroke, there are 3 levels of recognition, and we'll into that a little bit further coming up, but there is Target Stroke Honor Roll Elite, and Target Stroke Honor Roll Elite Plus. Target stroke, you do need to have a minimum of at least 6 patients that receive TP in order to qualify for a Target Stroke Honor Roll award. For the remainder of the award components, for achievement measures, for example, we get questions about volume criteria, and you do need to have at least 1 patient in the denominator in order to qualify for the achievement measures. Please, Renee. Thank you. To do for everyone a reminder of the time frame for awards and the deadlines. All of our awards are based on a calendar year. So we are approaching the deadline for 2018 awards based on 2017 data. So we are looking at your data from January 2017 through December 31st, 2017. All of the award timeframes are based on that calendar year performance unless we're looking at a bronze award. January 2017 through December 2017. We ask that you finalize your data entry by early to mid-March 2018. Hopefully you're already getting those December discharges in and reaching out to your local QSI director for any questions that you might have and touching base on where you're at in your award progression for this year. The data is automatically pulled by our National Center at the end of March and is evaluated. And once that data is pulled, you cannot go back in and make any changes. So it's really important. We ask you to, again, start having those discussions with your local QSI director now. I can assist you in answering any questions, any areas where you might not be achieving that performance threshold. We can work with you on running your patient level reports, which we will also show you today. But that gives us time to have some discussion with you one-on-one before that absolute data cutoff with our National Center at the end of March. I'm going to just go through and show you step-by-step how you can run some of these reports to evaluate your award status on your own. Feel free to log in to your Get With the Guidelines account and follow along with these reports as we move through. We're going to start, we will show how to run all three levels of the award reports: achievement, quality, and target stroke. And we're going to start with the quality, the achievement measures. We're going over entering any new patients or cases today. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to your local QSI director or myself and Renee. We'd be happy to connect you with the right person. For the purposes of today, we're just going to be going through how to run reports. And the way that you would want to do that is to log into your Get With the Guidelines account, and you'll see the bar graph icon on your community page, and where you can run your reports. You can also go to, there's two different ways of getting there, so that's one way. You can also go to the third tab at the top of your community page screen that says reports. Both of those links will get you to the same place where you'll see the next screen will site level reports, and you will see configurable measures reports. That's where we're going to start today to look at the achievement measures. Next, please. Thank you. So, Achievement Award Report. Today, when we look at the progression to award status, we are going to be running these reports and measure sets, but you can also look at the measures individually if you would like to. When we start with the configurable measures reports, the first step is to choose your time period. So for which time period do we want to look at our data? So we're going to look at January 2017 through December 2017. Again, our award is based on calendar year. Looking at January 2017 through December 2017. When you go to your standard measures in order to pick which that we want to look at, you can see a drop down, and the first one that you see says consensus CD covered out set. That's the cover measures if you're a covered out state. The second one you see under that heading is consensus GWTG set, and that's the Get With the Guidelines Performance Achievement Award set. So that you know you're looking at the achievement awards. Again, that bronze, silver, gold, the lead is necessary for any type of recognition. So we are going to choose the consensus GWTG set. The form to look at right now is our bar chart. We need to look at how our sample hospital is doing. Use my hospital. And the actions, we want to see similar measures on the same graph. That's going to show me all of my performance achievement measures on the same bar graph rather than looking at them each individually. And we want to see our achievement goal. That's going to show me that 85% necessary performance threshold in order to receive an achievement award. And the step will be to click the Generate Report. And it should think for just a minute, and it will show you your achievement award data. This is just a demo site. It's just sample hospitals data, so this isn't any real data that we're looking at right now, but this should give you an example of what you would see if you were to pull this report on your own. So 7 of my achievement measures pop up here. and that's my arrive by 2 hour, treat by 3, that's in the red here. The blue is our early antithrombotics. The green is VTE prophylaxis. Yellow is antithrombotics, so looking at was the patient discharged on an antithrombotic. The fuchsia color is anticoagulation for those patients that have atrial fib or atrial flutter. That is smoking cessation. And the pink skin color is LDL greater than 100 or documented that were discharged on a statin. So these are all 7 of my achievement measures. And black line there is my performance achievement goal of 85% or greater. So running this quick report is showing me how am I doing on achieving achievement measures for the year. Am I making it towards award status? Do I have some measures that are below 85% that I might want to reach out to my local QSI director and have some discussion about it? Are there any data abstraction issues? Is there any best practice sharing to improve those certain measures? So by this report, I can quickly see that I'm not quite at the 85% threshold for arrive by 2, treat by 3, or the VTE prophylaxis. Please, Renee. So for those 2 measures, or whichever that you might be seeing at your particular hospital, that less than 85%, I would want to run a patient record report. So what I showed you was the bar graph report. That's a great first start to look at just overall what's my snapshot of performance. But then I'm going to take a closer look at those measures where I'm falling below the 85%. You can see where I'm having any non-compliant cases that I want to take a closer look at. To do that, I want to look at not a bar graph report, but a patient record report. So I will again to my configurable measures, time period that I want, again, that's January 2017 through December 2017. I have to stay looking at that same time period. When I'm to my measures, this time, instead of running it as a set, I'm only going to choose the measures I want to take a closer look at. For this case, we're going to look at arrive by 2 hour, treat by 3 hour. And this is one where we have noticed across the board, many of our hospitals in the Midwest are having a little bit of issues getting to that 85% threshold. So we wanted to specifically show you how to run this measure. So we're using arrive by 2, treat by 3. And step 3, rather than choosing bar chart, we'll choose patient record. To click generate report. Next slide, please, Renee. And that a site will pop up showing me how patients were included in arrive by 2, treat by 3, how were excluded, how many are in the numerator, what my overall percentage is. So again, for this hospital, I was below 85%. And the way I really want to take a close look at are the ones that show if they were included in the results, they're included, and then in numerator, no. They're going to be the ones that are considered my fallouts or non-compliant cases for arrive by 2, treat by 3. Just a reminder, when you run a patient record report, you always filter the results. So when you're being included in results, you can click that little drop-down arrow, and it will bring up the included versus excluded patients. You can do the same thing for in numerator. If you want to bring your no cases up to the top, just click in numerator, and it will bring those no cases up to the top of your screen so you can just focus on those. You can also export these results to an Excel document. So you can modify that document and type in any comments or follow-up that you did on those cases and it for your own files. So for us, we're going to look at the in numerator, no. Go to the next screen, please, Renee. An example, again, of that same report, and just kind of shows you the larger view of it. This is one that we find a lot of our hospitals looking at, especially for the arrive by 2, treat by 3, is that we have something entered in this document exclusions or relative exclusions with this fourth column that says yes. And looking at the contraindications, the warnings, and the exclusion area where you see these red arrows, there's documented there. So what we see a lot is that when you're data abstracting, you may be going through and saying, yes, there's documented exclusions or reasons for not administering lytics in the 0 to 3 hour window, but we have to take it one step further and abstract the absolute warnings or contraindications in order for that patient to be excluded. So you think you did all of the data abstraction that you need to for this case, but you're seeing yes in this column, everything documented in the contraindications or warnings, you need to take it one step further. And that brings us to our hospitalization tab. When you're seeing this type of scenario for, yes, there's a documented reason, but the rest is blank, you want to click on your patient ID number, take a closer look at that case, and go to the hospitalization tab. Next, please. To do that, you're going to go down to the data element that says document exclusions or relative exclusions for initiating IV thrombolytic in the 3 to 4.5 hour treatment window. You can selected yes, and then to take it one step further and click Show All. With Show All, it is going to give you a drop down of all of these different criteria that you can select for what is the actual documented reason, the contraindication or warning that this patient did not receive TP in the 0 to 3 or 3 to 4.5 hour treatment window. This is want to make sure that you have documentation in your chart as to one of these exclusion criteria, and that you're also clicking the Show All and making sure that you're selecting one of these reasons. To do that, this patient will be excluded from the measure. So you have to do those two steps. I need to click Select Yes for the documented exclusions or contraindications. I need to click Show All and pick one of these reasons as well. Next, please. Reminder, when you click on the IV thrombolytic therapy, this is a really great place to refer to the code instructions. Some questions submitted about what are the absolute relative exclusions or documented exclusions that would be acceptable to select in this case, and in which scenarios do you select which data element. So we really wanted to make sure that all of you are aware you can click that IV thrombolytic therapy data element. It's going to take you directly to the coding instructions that show you the acceptable contraindications or warnings for not initiating IV thrombolytic therapy. We have many of our abstractors and our stroke coordinators who will print the list right from the coding instructions and this to educate their providers and their nurses regarding the acceptable reasons. But please refer back to your coding instructions so you know which data element to select in these cases. Back over to Renee to an overview of the Quality Plus Award report.
Thank you. So I'm going to go through the quality awards, and this is that plus portion of the award. So in order to generate a report, you would use that same reports tab that's available in the upper right corner once you're logged into the patient management tool. Also available through the bar chart icon from your community page. You click on either of those links, and then it will take you to the level reports page, and you would click on Configurable Measure Reports. So this is the process as we use to get to Achievement Awards. Quality Awards, we're then going to do that same time period. You do either monthly, January 2017 to December 2017. Also an option to do annually, and you can just do 2017 for one. I'm going to pull our report from the Get With the Guidelines Standard Measures drop-down, and we have a what we call a bundle report already available. So here, the place where Lynn showed you for the Achievement Awards, and additional measure groups, and select the one that says GWTG Stroke Quality Measures. And for example, we're going to select a bar chart. Then, of course, just use our demo hospital. For the display options, this is slightly different from what we just did for the Achievement Awards. We're going to do, again, the similar measures on the same graph. And What it does, just for everyone's reference, is it lists all of the measures on one chart instead of generating a report with 8 pages of charts. And also display plus goal. So the plus goal for it is different from our achievement measure goal. It's 75. It has a 75% criteria instead of 85%. And we'll get to you right here in a moment. So the next step is to click Generate Report. Just a few seconds, and it should open in a new window or tab, so you won't lose what you're working on. So this here are quality measure reports for a demo hospital. There are 8 measures, but only 5 out of the 8 quality measures must be met at 75% in order to qualify for the quality or plus portion of the award. As we mentioned earlier, and this is included on your award criteria handout, in order to be eligible for the quality awards, the achievement awards must first be met. And those achievement awards are the ones that have the highest level of evidence for optimal patient outcomes. Okay. And same as the achievement award, you can also drill down on any of those quality measures by patient record. So it's the same process. You would just select the different measure that you wanted to get that patient level report to understand any fallouts. So we encourage hospitals to really check in your award progress even well before the deadline, so you can see if there's anything that just looks different from what you expected. We're going to go through the target stroke progress report. And target stroke is, again, our focus on door-to-needle times, and this does include any cases that are seen at a hospital and then are transferred to another hospital. Cases that receive TPA at your hospital and then are transferred. So those patients are eligible for target stroke. Do the same time periods. So target stroke has that same annual calendar year. And the report is under the additional measure groups, and we've highlighted it here. It's called GWTG, Target Stroke Set. And we'll choose bar chart, hospital, and generate the report. So this is the same steps you can use for these reports, and as you can see here, we did have to select any display options. And it's perfectly free to, customize these reports the way that works best for you. This is the way that we found is user-friendly for us, but we're open to hearing any suggestions or different ways that your hospital looks at these reports. And for a moment, the target stroke criteria. So the minimum of 6 patients, and this is what Lynn looked at earlier. We do have 3 different levels: honor roll elite, and honor roll elite plus. And with each level, it gets more challenging. For the first, it includes that 50% or more of acute ischemic stroke patients treated with TP have a time thrombolytic therapy within 60 minutes. And there, to honor elite, that percentage goes from 50% to 75%. And our target stroke honor roll elite plus, so that one requires that the time to thrombolytic therapy within 60 minutes is 75% or more, and the time to thrombolytic therapy within 45 minutes is at 50% or more. So that final elite plus level requires that both first 2 levels are met. And includes patients that receive TPA at your hospital and are then transferred to another facility. Our outcomes for our sample hospital here. So the first chart that we are viewing right now is the time to thrombolytic therapy in 60 minutes. Again, in order to meet honor roll, it has to be at least 50% of patients. And in order to meet honor roll elite, it would be 75% or more of patients. An example, we're at 58.7%. So this particular hospital would meet that target stroke honor roll level. Look at second example. An example, again, with that time to thrombolytic therapy at 60 minutes. In this case, this hospital had 87.5% of patients met time frame. So this would mean that they qualify for target stroke honor roll elite. And we want to look at that 45-minute time frame. This example, this hospital had 25.2% of patients met 45-minute time frame. So in this case, this hospital would not qualify for that final target stroke honor roll elite plus level, but they would receive the elite level. Okay, so pass it back to you.
Okay. So I'm going to take a few minutes to look at these measures, the achievement, quality, and target for our Midwest region to see how our hospitals participating in Get With the Guidelines across our affiliates are doing and adhering to these measures. So to look at the achievement measures, firstly, and remember this is the one where all 7 of the measures need to be at 85% or greater compliance in order to achieve award recognition. And while we are so proud of all of you, you're doing a fantastic job adhering to the achievement measures. As Renee had mentioned, this is our highest level of evidence group of guidelines for improved patient outcomes. An area where we again looked at some of our hospitals have room for improvement is that arrive by 2, treat by 3 hours. So just falling underneath that 85% threshold. Again, finding the majority of hospitals, the reason for this is not that they're not meeting the arrive by 2, treat by 3, it's the way that it's being abstracted in guidelines. So again, making sure that you go back to that patient record level report, looking at those cases that in numerator no, and seeing that you're selecting yes, there's documented contraindications, and you're taking it one step further to select what those contraindications are. So going through and running these reports on your own, we highly encourage you to reach out to USI directors, first of all, to let us know that you're done entering 2017 data. We love for you to give us a heads up so that we can review your reports and start taking a look at this. And especially when you're coming across measures where you're at that 85% threshold, this is what we love to do, is help you with process improvement for cases. Feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to help you run those reports and take a deeper dive into what some of those reasons might be and anything that we can do to assist you with those. We'll take a look at the quality measures. So again, this is, you can't see here, but there is a 75% performance criteria needed for the quality measures in 5 of 8 of these. So rooms for improvement across the Midwest are that time to thrombolytic therapy, 60 minutes or less. That is a criteria for quality measures as well as target stroke. That aqua bar graph there is intensive statin therapy. The standard, again, is that arrive by 3.5, treat by 4.5. Also the NIH stroke scale reported. So you have some room for improvement across our quality measures. Again, those are 75%, 5 of 8 of them. I should also just note as a reminder to everyone, I get this question a lot, is do we just submit our highest and best of the quality measures? And you can abstract data on all of the quality measures, and we will run the reports and only submit the ones that are above that 75%. So you can still, by all means, act the data for all of those quality measures, and only the ones that are greater than 75% would be used to calculate your plus component of your award. So we'll move to target stroke data for the Midwest. So this first one here, looking at the time to intravenous thrombolytic therapy, 60 minutes or less. This is the one where you would need 50% compliance or greater in order to qualify for honor roll, and 75% or greater in order to qualify for honor roll elite. That's one of my favorite measures to look at if you look at a progression over time. which all of you have the access to do in your Get with the Guidelines accounts. Just a huge progression across the Midwest and nationally in our improvement in door-to-treatment time. The overall Midwest at 79% of our acute ischemic stroke patients receive thrombolytics within 60 minutes of arrival, which is awesome. Great job, you guys. We'll take the next one, which is really moving the bar even more, looking at the door-to-needle time less than or equal to 5 minutes or less. And we've made progress here. We still have some room for improvement. About 5% of our acute ischemic stroke patients being treated in the Midwest are having a time to thrombolytic therapy of 45 minutes or less. We can keep working on that door-to-treatment time. And I'll turn over to you.
Thanks. So we've given you a sample of our award reports, how to look at your hospital's progress to awards. But as we mentioned earlier, there are several other reports available. And we've seen many regions, hospital systems, statewide, nationwide, use reports to inform their system of care. So looking at care from the entry point when a patient arrives and how they arrive, all the way to discharge disposition and everything in between. These reports can be helpful for understanding your target population. We have descriptive reports that look at age, gender, other items that would help target community-based programs, preventative efforts. So really, regardless of hospital volume, collecting and reviewing data provides valuable insight for your stroke teams, for your hospital, hospital system, region-wide, et cetera. We need to make sure that everyone was aware that we do have benchmark groups. So with that Configure Measure Report page, and we didn't look at this today, but everyone has access to benchmark groups. And some of them are system-wide, region-wide at the state and national level. And so basically, as a hospital, you have access to the benchmark groups that your hospital participates in. So everyone on this call, for example, in the Midwest, has access to that Midwest regional benchmark group. That's the one we showed you some data from. Everyone has access to their statewide data and also to nationwide data. Honestly, these reports, we've seen many hospitals use it for performance improvement, focus on those achievement, quality, and target stroke, but also focusing on additional items that are important to them locally. We do have a few tabs enhancements that are available free of charge, such as the Advanced Stroke Care tab. The item, if you'd like to learn more, please reach out to your local QI director, and that's a tab that collects additional items related to advanced stroke care, having to do with imaging and also outcomes from providing that endovascular therapy. We have it's not listed here, but we now have the ability to collect telestroke outcomes. So we know we have many hospitals that are either the recipient or purveyor of telestroke, so there is a way to look at those items. And of course, we have the certification performance measures available as well. And we wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that there is we have measure description documents. So that screenshot there in the bottom right. Description documents are available on the Configurable Measure Reports page. They're also available from your community page in the PMT resources. So what are detailed descriptions of each of the measures available, including a definition of the measure, the items that include the criteria for the numerator and denominator, as well as the pertinent form field within the patient management tool. So what it does is help understand, which patients roll up to these measures, which fields, when I'm entering data, which fields roll up to the measures that are important to me. So I'd recommend that everybody go in there and review the measures, especially reporting, descriptive, and data quality, since these are some of the items we don't always talk about with our achievement awards. Few upcoming stroke events, and we focused on reports, but we do have a few. We offer free abstraction courses, data abstraction courses. And there's one listed here in May if you are in the Wisconsin area. And also today at 1 p.m. there is a highlights of the new 2018 Acute Ischemic Stroke Guidelines webinar. We sent a flyer with your handouts. So if you're able to attend that, we'd really recommend listening in. And your QSI director will always let you know about any other upcoming events. We have links to several stroke resources. You can see here we have mostly patient, community, and caregiver resources. And if there's something you're looking for that you're not seeing here, feel free to reach out to your local director. To remind everyone that we have a suite of quality and systems improvement programs. Today we're focused on stroke, but if your hospital and any of your colleagues are interested in looking at our other disease modules, please let us know. Mentioned at the many of you have probably heard at International Stroke Conference this year in January, they released updated acute ischemic stroke guidelines. We have a link there at the bottom. It is a great go-to place to access several resources, including the guidelines themselves, as well as some updated toolkit resources. Okay, brings us to the Q&A section. And thank everyone for submitting your questions when you registered for this webinar. We did try and, as much as we could, take your questions into account when developing the content of this webinar, so we really appreciate that. And we have a few that we wanted to answer that are submitted. And then also, we are going to provide instructions for how to come mute and ask questions at this time. So, Mark, would you like to provide instructions?
Thank you much. We'll now begin the question and answer session. Now, participants who would like to ask a question, please press *1. Make that your line is unmuted and record your name after the prompt. To cancel your request, please press *2. Please, while we wait for the first question.
And while we're waiting for that, I just have a few questions that came in through the registration process. So we wanted to clarify to everyone that incomplete records, so those of you who are familiar with entering patients in Get With The Guidelines, incomplete records are still eligible for award consideration. Question about compliance for data, and AHA has a compliance process in the works. We're putting it for heart failure, and we will keep everyone updated about that process. Come in, Martha? Go ahead, Lynn.
I add to the question about the compliance process. Someone also along those lines asked a question about the reliability of the data. We wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that a Joint Commission accredited or certified stroke center, regardless of the level, you're probably already aware of this requirement through them, the need to re-abstract 5 charts per quarter. So we do have a process in place for hospitals that are doing that or are interested in doing that to do their own check of the reliability of the data. You can ask IQVIA or your local QSI director to help you facilitate that process, where IQVIA will give you a free re-abstraction account. So it's just like your guidelines account, except it's called re-abstraction. It's a separate account where you can have, if you're a data abstractor, you can have your stroke coordinator, or if you're a part of a hospital system, you can have your data abstractor at another hospital in the system abstract a certain number of charts for you each quarter and re-abstract the same chart, and you can compare your answers to make sure that you abstracting the chart correctly and look for any opportunities for improvement, opportunities to review the coding instructions together, looking at the source of truth for where you're abstracting data to make sure that everyone is on the same page and the data you're abstracting is accurate. We also encourage you to attend any of our abstraction courses that we offer throughout the year, Midwest affiliates, to provide some education on interpreting the coding instructions. More questions come in through the line?
Well, at this point, speakers, with no questions on queue, I would just like to remind once again our participants to ask a question, please press *1 and record your name after the prompt. Cancel your request, please press *2.
While waiting, there was a question earlier about exclusion criteria for target stroke. So those measure descriptions really define in detail the inclusion and exclusion criteria. But I want to mention that this measure doesn't exclude patients with documented eligibility or medical reasons for delay in treatment or for not receiving TPA. Those are the that report that Lynn went over, and really making sure that if there is a reason for not providing TPA, that you are documenting the reason.
Next question comes from the line of Sarah. The line is now open.
I'm wondering if TIA cases are included in the award data.